Welcome back to Crypto Comics, all my crypto knights, for another installment of Rob Liefeld Appreciation Month. And today we are going to talk about the much forgotten Youngblood Volume 2. We have extensively covered Youngblood Volume 1 here on Crypto Comics, and I wanted to talk about Volume 2 because I actually really like Volume 2. It is a large departure from Volume 1. It's quite different. It's much more interested in the interpersonal relationships of the different Youngblood members. Specifically, Vogue's relationship with Die Hard is covered in this quite well. Shaft is a depression case in Volume 2 of Youngblood. He's really doubting himself, and there's reasons for that are covered within this series. Our friend Mick is also kind of becoming a little bit surly towards his teammates. It's all very interesting. And the art is phenomenally drawn by Roger Cruz. And revisiting this, and I didn't own the entire collection. I actually had to order a few from mycomicshop.com because Youngblood Volume 2 is surprisingly tricky to find in the back issue bins. Volume 1, yeah, they got Volume 1 and they got Team Youngblood for days, bro, for days. But Volume 2, it's a little different. It's a little harder to find. The popularity of Youngblood had kind of maybe passed at the point in time that this was finally released, beginning in September of 1995. The whole series written predominantly by Eric Stevenson, and is drawn by Roger Cruz with a little bit of help from Todd Knock. And I'm not going to go into, too much about this. There's some intergalactic space battles, and also, if you're going to pick up Volume 2, you're going to need to pick up like the last 4 issues of Team Youngblood, which I would say like maybe it's issue 18 through 22, I believe is where they ended. They ended at either 21 or 22. And Team Youngblood ends perfectly in sync with when this is like starting to begin. I think that maybe they were published for 4 months together. There is an alien race known as the Keep who have shown up on Earth. Basically, they're gonna take over the friggin' planet. And the Catellans are here because they want to get their hands on Combat, who is an outlaw from their home world of Catella. And they want to take him back there to be tried. And now here's something else very interesting that happens in this. There's something they call Extreme 3000. Check this out. My boy Badrock has apparently lived for over 1,000 years. And he's gone into space, and he has now traveled back in time to warn Youngblood and the entire Earth of impending doom and to save the planet. So you have an older, wiser Badrock who has traveled back in time, and you can tell that it's him because, obviously you can tell it's him, but you can tell the older, wiser Badrock because he wears a very different costume. And we're not going to get too much into detail. This volume also covers Die Hard's own issues with himself becoming more machine than man, and how that starts to mess with his mind a little bit. And for my money, Roger Cruz is, one of the finest artists there is. And this is not great. He gets even better as we go through this series. Dutch has been framed for the murder of this woman's husband, Robert Thomas. And Dutch is of the opinion that Robert Thomas was hardly just a husband. I wouldn't have been set up to kill him were that the case. And so Dutch is kind of an outlaw on the run, but she's helping him because she wants to unravel the mystery of who killed her husband and why. The old Micah, he's already been at Dutch's secret cabin, exploring, trying to uncover some things. And so there's a lot of intrigue here in this story, and it's, whereas Youngblood Volume 1 seems to deal more with their celebrity, and, just the action and the fight of each issue, the battle within each issue. This definitely has a much more intricate plot, and you do have to pretty much pick up every issue of this volume to really grasp what's going on, as well as those previous issues of Team Youngblood I mentioned. You also have this chick who is going to show up and play some havoc with our friends in Youngblood in Volume 3. I really love this cover. Beautiful. Whereas this cover is done by Rob Liefeld. How about that, huh? Yeah, and this is obviously issue number 2. And one other thing that they were doing within this comic book, also, Battlestone has now been brought back in to take control of Youngblood now that Graves, aka Lucifer, is out of that position. So Battlestone's been put in charge, but he is keeping a lot of secrets of his own. Man, Roger Cruz draws women amazingly well. He really understands that blend of manga and American comic book style, and has blended them perfectly. Shaft's longtime girlfriend Shelley is also struggling within their relationship. Shaft's, distant. Shaft is obsessed with being the best, and everybody's having a lot of issues in this. It's much more dramatic, and it's an interesting departure. I actually would think that, obviously there's not a lot of women who read comic books, but I think women would maybe enjoy this just because it does have a little bit more interpersonal relationship storytelling going on. It's not just about defeating villains and being the best and dealing with public pressure and things like that. Which, don't get me wrong, Youngblood Volume 1, I love Youngblood Volume 1. But I've come to really appreciate this. Not only because of Eric Stevenson's storytelling, but because of Roger Cruz's art, as you can see. This is Adam and Eve, by the way. Adam and Eve are two villains who can, basically they can control the planet and do whatever they want. And I thought that was kind of a fun little character. I don't know if they've ever appeared anywhere else in Extreme Studios lore. See, and there's that chick again. And she's going to come into play in Youngblood issue number 3. What? Shaft is a chick? This is the transgender Youngblood right here. Where literally they change genders. This chick has the ability to swap their sexes. And so everybody in Youngblood becomes a girl. What? Isn't that fun? And obviously this is pretty popular. And when you got a guy like Roger Cruz drawing it, it's very, very, very easy on the eyes. And I like that. Oh, there's Troll. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, Super Patriot even ends up a chick. And it's going to all play out in the pages of Glory. This broad in the beginning, this evil broad here, there she is. She basically takes control of all their minds and is going to make them do her bidding. And this ends up playing out in the pages of Glory. And Glory, I believe it's issue number 9. Oh, excuse me. To be continued in Glory number 8. So you're going to have to do that. And then, after issue 3, you go into the final crossover Rob Liefeld ever did at Image Comics through Extreme Studios, and that would be Extreme Destroyer, which we are going to cover in our next video here on Crypto Comics for Rob Liefeld Appreciation Season. Now, there's more I want to talk about with Youngblood, so you have to bear with me here. Obviously, we have all 4 covers. They did 4 covers to this because why wouldn't you? Because you're going to sell this out. Clearly, I have the Shaft cover. It's my favorite. My second favorite would probably be the group cover. And then I would clearly go for the lovely, lovely Night Saber. Cougar, that's not doing anything for me. Hate, also, that's next, right? Okay. So I'm going to skip over Youngblood number 4, and we'll get directly into this, which is Youngblood issue number 5, called Hate. And this was I don't want to call it a crossover, because it is, but it's different. It's different. Each story is self-contained. We previously covered this in Bloodpool Special. Do you remember the Bloodpool Special when we did that review? About the rockers at the Battle of the Bands competition who were big racists and decide that they have to stop the black chicks from winning. And it's up to the Bloodpool to put an end to that. So these all touch each other, but not in the way a crossover typically does. Each one has their own self-contained story, but then you have this same exact 2-page spread in all the issues of Hate. And it ends up being this character called Sith, a leftover of the Keep's most recent visit to Earth. Sith was one of many creatures collected by the Keep millennia ago. See the last issue in the Extreme Destroyer crossover to better understand this. Like I said, we're going to cover the Extreme Destroyer crossover in our next video. Long kept frozen and under study, it wasn't until the Keep became embroiled in conflict with Earth that Sith awoke, escaping his master's grasp. And upon escape, he found a world rife with hatred, a world at last capable of feeding his never-ending hunger. So he feeds off of people's hatred and their emotions, and I find that to be very interesting. This is actually really bizarre. I have a story that I'm not going to talk a lot about because I don't give away my ideas, but I have a story plotted out called Amongst the Dreaming. And the character in that is very similar to this character. Whereas this character feeds off of emotions, my character doesn't feed off of emotions. He feeds off of something else that I don't want to give away. But what's so bizarre is I actually designed the villain for my story Amongst the Dreaming in Photoshop, like two and a half years ago. And he looks remarkably similar. It's kind of eerie. He's decked out in red and he has the same type of face and the long fingers. It was very weird to open this and see this character for the first time and see how remarkably similar he is. And it goes to show you that there are no new thoughts, only new thinkers. And this is just about, hate, racial tension. But it's not done in a way like you would see now, like the SJW comics that you have coming out. This is, something that I think everyone who's not a racist can agree on. And they would all say, look, the Republicans, they're the racists. Oh, no, it's the Democrats, they're the racists. It's just there's good people and there's bad people in the world. Bottom line. And then you have these couple of epilogues, and this one really goes into detail about Shaft, and this is kind of interesting. Something is happening to me. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is or when it first began, but I know it's there. I can feel it. Something so subtle and elusive that it's impossible to track. Something bubbling just beneath the surface of my very being, calling me to reevaluate who I am, who I've been, and who I have yet to be. Who I am now is a contradiction of everything I've strived to be my entire life. And if someone was to tell me I haven't been myself lately, they wouldn't be far from the truth. And so basically this is a setup for what happens after Extreme Destroyer. And I'm not going to go into it too much because we're obviously going to get to that. But one other thing you get in Youngblood number 5 is the winner of the Create Your Own Youngblood Team Member contest. And one lucky reader had their character selected, much like Eric Larson did with Jimbo the Mighty Lobster, except whereas Jimbo the Mighty Lobster just appeared in a single issue of The Savage Dragon. The person who wins this competition has their character become a member of Youngblood. I mean, that's pretty awesome to have created a character who ended up being printed in the pages of Youngblood on more than one occasion. And we'll talk about that more in the future. But this is just a little taste. Youngblood Volume 2 technically ran for 14 issues. There was 1 through 10. And then you skip 11, 12, and 13. And Rob put out issue 14 from Maximum Press. And we are going to talk about that too in the future here on Crypto Comics. Let me go grab that and I'll give you a little taste, okay?
So how long have you been drawing comic books?
Since I was about 7 years old, little kid.
What'd your parents think about it?
They hated it. They hated it. Oh, yeah. After I got a job and they saw that you can make a living out of it, you'll hear no complaints anymore.
And you created X-Force?
Mm-hmm.
So what is this drawing of?
This is the Spike Man.
And what's this right here?
This is the camera on top of your head that will record the wrongdoings of others.
So Rob, have you had any formal art training?
No. Just a lot of imagination, I think. Wait so I say it and then look down, or just open it and say it.
Fly button?
Okay, guys, now check this out. This is Youngblood issue number 10. Okay? This cover really reminds me of a cover Rob would have drawn for X-Force back in the day when he worked at Marvel. Now, the next Youngblood comic to come out after this is Youngblood 14. This was released by Image. In the interim, Rob and Image had their parting of the ways, and Youngblood was then being produced by Maximum Press. It jumps from 10 to 14, and this has been a mystery for me because I was searching on mycomicshop.com for 11, 12, and 13. I said, well, they have to exist. They have to exist. They don't. They don't exist. But there is a hint in the back of Youngblood issue number 10 that tells us exactly what is going on. If we just flip to the back, it's going to explain. 11, 12, and 13 never came into existence. Oh, yeah, here's the chick I was talking about, the created character. There she is. To be continued in Youngblood X-Force number 1. Whew, so that really made me feel good when I finally cracked this open and read it and saw that. Because that means that what exists in between Youngblood issue number 10 and Youngblood issue number 14 is this comic. Yeah, how about that? Is that not sexy? I think it is. Rob Liefeld's two greatest creations together, Youngblood and X-Force. But wait, there's more. There was also X-Force Youngblood. These are two different stories. The way I look at it is I believe that Image handled this one and Marvel handled this one. And so to me, I believe that these are the placeholders for issue 11 and issue 12. Now, that still leaves us with Youngblood issue 13, which doesn't exist. Well, it turns out that in December, the same month Youngblood issue 14 was released by Maximum Press, Maximum Press and Rob Liefeld also released Youngblood Super Special. So it was a winter special. And the main problem I have is I actually read it. I found it online and I read it because I had to know before I bought it. Like, does it fit in the canon of all of this? It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It is not a continuation of any of this story. It doesn't reference the X-Force Youngblood stories. And, you know, the real poop of all of this is at the end. Oh, get that toy there, right? But what really sucks is at the end, it says, to be concluded. So this story that they've built up throughout Youngblood Volume 2 is finally going to come to a conclusion. We're finally going to figure out what the heck is going on with Dredd, the guy who has been leading Youngblood. You know, it goes Dredd, and then Kiever and Battlestone. I think they're kind of side by side in with their hands on the levers of control in Youngblood. But this is basically the liaison to the U.S. Senate. And then below him would be Kiever and Battlestone, and below them would be probably like Shaft and Die Hard, who become the team leaders. And then below them would be all the other members of Youngblood. I don't think this story ever gets a conclusion, which is a bunch of crap, because when you flip the page and you're like right here, it says, us keep you dangling at the end of a thread month after month with no end in sight? Now, would we do something like that? It's true things have been building to a head for some time now, but it will all be worth it in the end, as Rob Liefeld and Eric Stevenson blow the lid off of the entire Youngblood program. Events in this issue should keep your blood pumping until the next one hits the stands. Remember, good things come to those who wait. Very good things. Well, I've been waiting 23 years, Rob. Still waiting. Still waiting. Because what came after this was Maximum Press is dissolved. And the next time we see Youngblood is when it's printed by Rob's third publishing company, Awesome Entertainment, which is one thing that has me really, really excited for Rob Liefeld Appreciation Season. Because I have collected, I think, all but 2 comic books published by Awesome Entertainment. And I'm excited to go through every single one of them with you as Rob Liefeld Appreciation Season continues here on Crypto Comics. So this has been a look at Youngblood Volume 1. The next time we see something printed from Maximum Press and Image Comics, the next time I talk about these publishing companies, it will be when we go through Youngblood X-Force. But I'm not sure when we're going to do this. I'm going to hold on to this for a little while. I have not read these. I just got them in the mail this month. And so I want to take a look and read them. It seems like these would be a fitting conclusion to Rob Liefeld Appreciation Season, because these are his two greatest creations, without a doubt. I don't think anyone can name another character or another team group that Rob Liefeld created that has had the impact and the durability as Youngblood and X-Force. So, if you liked this comic book review, click that share button and let your friends know what a good time we're having here at Crypto Comics. Invite them to come along for the ride. Please, hit that thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe. Hit the ding dong for notifications. Pick up your smartphone and thump your way to megawattcomic.com and support your boy Crypto in the closing moments of our Kickstarter campaign for Megawatt versus the Vampires of the Sun, the first comic your boy Crypto has ever tried to publish on his own. I can't do it without you. So please, Crypto Knights, join me on the journey into publishing an independent comic book, and we'll keep the good times rolling right here at Crypto Comics each and every day. Well, maybe not each and every day, but as many days as I can possibly spare, because I absolutely love reading these comic books to all of you beautiful people in Webtown, and I'll keep doing it for as long as I can. Until next time, I remain your humble host here at Crypto Comics.